We are back on Inside Politics. Our guest today is Gray Sasser. He's the executive director of the Vanderbilt Project on Unity and Democracy. Gray, to talk about the programs you already got started, I know you've been having a seminar involved with students this area. Has the class been maxed out? Are students really interested in this? And what are you trying to accomplish through this particular program, this particular class?
Yeah, we've got a class that's being being taught by John Meacham and Summer Ali and John Gear, who's the Dean of the College of Arts and Science and runs the Vanderbilt poll. The class is maxed out. About 250 students are attending. We're fortunate enough to bring in some prominent historians and scholars from across the country. We're working to, as I said in the outset, we don't want, if this discussion is just contained to Vanderbilt University, it's a great academic discussion, but we're not doing our job. So we're finding out ways to get some of those professors and materials and circulate them out into the public based upon our website. Folks want to come and read some of the essays the kids have written about defining unity. We took the top 4 from the class and posted them on the website, and have some other exciting things that we plan for later in the year as well.
From the information you provided me, the group's agenda seems to be to restore civil discourse rooted in fact-based reasoning. These days, we don't seem to be able to agree on much of anything about facts. So we all live in our own media and social information bubbles. How do you establish what the facts are on the issues that are confronting and dividing us?
Well, I mean, I think that's a wonderful question. And was it Pat Moynihan who once said, "You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts." And we're going to present the facts and evidence in a scholarly way. And we're going to use the research of all the wonderful faculty here at Vanderbilt and the students that are helping to present that research, to back up that research, and hopefully to give people some tools to question facts that don't seem accurate. And it's important to remember that I talked earlier about this constitutional framework. The burden of being a citizen in the United States, there's an obligation there. There's an obligation not to just sit back and let things wash over you. There's an obligation to be involved, and part of that involvement means checking the source of the evidence that is being presented to you.
But it was just a few years. Gray, it was just a few years ago that a top presidential aide espoused the reality of alternate facts. How does your group deal with alternate facts and still try to create a unity or at least some kind of goodwill about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can get a discussion, let's again talk about, say, the unemployment rate. We can all agree what the unemployment rate in this country, what it is, about 4.3% now, I believe. Now we establish that as a fact, and then we can have different opinions about how to address that, to push it either up or down, or make adjustments so that more people are going to work. But we don't need to argue about whether the employment rate is 4.3, 4.5, 4.7. And the onus, again, has to fall back on, I believe, the American people, to when they're presented with these alternative facts, just to throw up their hands and walk away. Look at the source. We're going to provide people with the tools to evaluate the source, and then as we discuss the facts and discuss how we're going to respond to them, I think that results in a cooling effect on the political discourse.
Your father is Jim Sasser, the former United States Senator that represented Tennessee from 1977 to 1995. One of his former Senate colleagues, Tennessee's Howard Baker, who's also a senator, once said, "Pay attention to the person on the other side. Sometimes he might have a good idea, or she might have a good idea." Is that something that we've lost in this country, something that your group would like to sort of recapture?
I think we have lost that. And I also, speaking of Senator Baker, I always thought highly of him. And then I remember another great Tennessean, Miss Pauline Gore, once told me when I was a kid that you've always got to respect the man, respect the office, if not the man. And I think we've lost a little bit of that collegiality. We've lost a little bit of that faith in the institutions, and we've lost a little bit of the civility. And if we, those are important things to keep in mind. And so what I've done, I mean, in my career, I was the former chairman of the Tennessee Democratic Party. I'm a Democrat, and for better or worse, that's who I am. And what we're making sure that the staff that we bring in here is reflective of the diversity of the country. We've got, as we grow our team here, we've brought in people who work for Senator Ernst of Iowa, or a Republican senator, Senator McConnell of Kentucky. we think that we can model here in our little office and through our programming that civil discourse that Senator Baker exemplified.
Does Senator Sasser still pay attention to politics? Is he concerned, as I hear from some other former members from up there, what he sees today going on up on Capitol Hill compared to how things were when he was in office?
I learned a long time ago that I'm going to get in trouble if I speak for my father, but Dad's doing great. And he, in my conversations with him, he keeps up with things. I sometimes worry he keeps up with things too much. But there is a lack of, I think, a collegiality that was there before that is no longer there. And we can talk about some of the reasons. Is it the constant drive for political dollars? Is it that Congress, frankly, might not be in session long enough, that folks are coming home to their home districts and not spending enough time together? Have we nationalized elections too much? We have lost something. And I hope we can be part of getting whatever that collegiality back so that we can build some consensus on those issues where consensus can't exist.
There are also concerns about our belief and trust in the key institutions of our democracy. It's not just the presidency and Congress. Now it appears also to be the Supreme Court. Can we function as a democracy if we've lost faith and confidence in these bedrock elements of our constitutional democracy?
Well, the wonderful thing about our constitutional democracy is that we built in the founders built in ways to change it and improve it. Through the amendment process, through the election process. If folks are disappointed with what they see right now, there are ways to fix it. And we're encouraging everybody to try to figure out a way to be involved in that repair.
We're talking about the Vanderbilt Unity Project with the executive director of that group, Gray Sasser. Back to continue our conversation with Gray after you watch these messages.